Welcome to After Hours with Rictor, episode 22. We are now way into our second season, and we have come back swinging.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is another After Hours with Rictor. I'm your host. My name is Rictor Riolo.
Rictor!
What?
Leave him alone!
Now we got Rictor going. We're going to have to hear about it all night. That's a bunch of screaming memes out there, and that's the scoop that has been reported so far.
Well, when you don't believe in Bigfoot, everything you see that might be one is something else.
Is this thing on? Am I muted? Can you hear me? Hello?
My question is, why do you think Bigfoot is real?
This is part 2 of our discussion of Les Stroud's Survivorman Bigfoot with Todd Standing. In my last webcast, I asked, who's Les Stroud? Who's Todd Standing? Apparently, Standing has thousands of followers who drink his Kool-Aid and don't understand what a rhetorical question is. So tonight, on After Hours with Rictor, we're going to break it down into very basic, elementary concepts for you Standlings to understand. Todd Standing is into Bigfooting for profit. So we're going to be talking about what he's trying to sell. Is he trying to pull something over us? And who his target audience is? Bigfoot is big business. So we're hoping you're going to walk away from this webcast questioning authority and understand that there's nothing wrong with making money off of Bigfoot, unless the evidence points to it being fraud. Tonight, we're going to be discussing part 2 of Les Stroud's Survivorman Bigfoot. But first, I want to introduce my beautiful and lovely Tammy Murray co-host.
Thank you, Rictor. Hello. Is this thing on? Oh, sorry, I stole somebody's line there.
Tammy is infamous for a quote. Tammy's quote is, "The burden of proof
lies with the person making the claim, not everyone else to disprove."
Joining us is our Team Tazer Investigative Reporter, Steve Alcorn.
What's up, guys? And that was my line you stole, Tammy.
Yes, I know.
And we have the very informative, my personal Obi-Wan Kenobi archaeologist and anthropologist, Kathy Strain.
Hi, everybody.
Where do we begin with this discussion about Survivorman Bigfoot Part 2? It's kind of like a rehash of what happened in the first episode. Personally, I think the first episode was better. It was shorter, tighter, and it ended on a cliffhanger, which we did not get resolved in the second episode. Tammy, what did Les Stroud hear out in the bushes?
As far as I could tell, nothing, but I guess he heard something.
There was something moving in the grass that caught his attention. He looked off to the side, enter credits.
And that was it.
That was it. That was the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I come into this second part thinking, okay, what was it he saw? Was it Todd Standing taking a pee? What was going on? Nothing. Todd Standing. Todd Standing. Last episode, I asked a rhetorical question. Who's Todd Standing? Who's Les Stroud? Find out on After Hours. I had no idea of all the Kool-Aid drinkers that were living in Canada that follow Todd Standing, and his every word that comes out of his mouth is biblical. Really, people. Before we did this webcast tonight, we took a look at Sylvanic and their store. You can buy the poster of the forest people. You can buy the coffee mug, the t-shirt, short or long sleeve, men or women's. You could buy the mouse pad. You could buy the mini documentary for $10.95.
Rictor, are those t-shirts 50-50 or 100% cotton? Because I don't like that 50-50 stuff. That's cheap.
I don't know, but something tells me it's probably made out of polyester. Guys, the documentary for $10.95. Do you want to purchase that, or would you rather spend your $10.95 on season 1 of The Muppet Show?
I may have paid $10 for it, but the 95 cents, yeah, that broke the deal.
Now, there's nothing wrong with making money off of Bigfoot. Some people here in this webcast make Bigfoot pendants, Bigfoot jewelry. But they're not pulling the wool over your head. Tammy, you're providing a service by creating Bigfoot jewelry based on what could be the Patterson Gimlin.
Yeah, it's Patty. It's a blatant artistic interpretation of Patty.
There's nothing wrong with making money off of Bigfoot as long as it's honest. Don't you guys agree?
Well, there's nothing wrong with making money. I mean, I obviously have a book that I sell that's, for educational purposes. It's not like I made lots of money off of it. I think what I'm more offended by is the fact that he claims to have evidence, and he made this mini documentary, but you have to purchase it. Evidence should never be for sale. If you have true evidence, you should be willing to share that for free to anybody to look at and critique or ask questions about. And that's what's wrong about it is oh yeah, look at this, I have all these videos of Bigfoot, but you've got to pay me in order to see it. Well, then you really don't have evidence of Bigfoot. You've got absolutely nothing.
Okay, let's look at other examples of people who have charged money to view their evidence and how those situations turned out.
Rick Dyer, what a great segue. In his traveling circus, See Hank, the Bigfoot body. How much was he charging, Steve?
At first he was charging $20, and I think by the end of the tour it dropped down to $5, or whatever you'd give them to go in the trailer, which is officially over now.
I have an epiphany. Oh my gosh. Public message to Rick Dyer and Todd Standing. The two of you are missing a great opportunity to join forces. Think about it. Rick Dyer calls himself the P.T. Barnum, and you've got Todd Standing's puppet show for kids. You would have See the Bigfoot Body, watch the puppet show with dialogue by Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum.
There you go.
In all seriousness, the people that are following Todd Standing are not objective. You have to be objective. Question authority. Okay, there's this video of something that blinks its eye in like a very autistic, special needs sort of way.
It doesn't look natural. There's nothing about that looks natural. There's nothing about any of it that looks like a real animal. It doesn't move. I mean, does he have video? He has that one video, I think, that was on the Finding Bigfoot, where it was a sentinel up on the rock outcrop and it moves, and they said, oh, that's blatant hoax and blah, blah, blah. And so is that it? I mean, these things that he took these photos of, these Muppet-like looking things, why not charge it? Why didn't he walk closer to it and get better video, or make it move so he could get video of it moving? So it's really, the way the setup, everything about it is just so hoaxy. It's like classic 101. He didn't even really try that hard, in my opinion.
Well, this is Todd Standing's exact quote. I have 7 different crystal clear Sasquatch videos that people can't look at and say, that's a bear. They look at it and go, that's either a man in a suit or that's a new species of primate that's alive and well in North America. There's no other option. Yeah, puppet. There's a third, okay? Now, what if, guys, Todd Standing was making this to be a puppet show for kids? Would we all be in support of it?
If it was presented that way, of course we would.
It would be phenomenal. He would be making so much money hand over fist. Todd, quit trying to lie to everybody. Provide us with something real, or present it as it really is. That's not a Bigfoot. You have 7 different videos and supposedly images. You're the only human being on this planet that's been privileged to get that close to a Sasquatch and live to tell about it and take these amazing videos and photographs. You are not the Dr. Jane Goodall of Canada. Just because you're on a television show with Les Stroud, does it make you Dr. Jane Goodall?
Richter, I did notice that in the second episode, the part 2, that Les Stroud did come around, and instead of claiming that it was Gigantopithecus, he said, could it be Gigantopithecus? Question mark. So he kind of changed his tune in this by part 2 in that, instead of declaring that Bigfoot was Gigantopithecus, which, nobody knows.
This brings us back now to the actual show that we're discussing, but we have to talk about everything in regards to the show. Todd Standing's past, what he's trying to sell, what he's doing, what he's about, his history. Is he a hoaxer? Is he a Bigfoot researcher? Rhetorical questions, people. I guess I have to put that now whenever I ask a question. You're going to come away with this with your own belief. Some people are going to watch this with their own beliefs already firmly in place, and that's okay. But people, just because it might look like a Sasquatch doesn't mean it wasn't created 20 minutes ago in Photoshop. We were talking about this afternoon about a photo that this man was posting in all the Bigfoot groups on Facebook. Photoshop. and it gets everybody all excited. But don't be posting something and not explaining exactly what it is.
Well, it just goes back to show, I mean, I think the best thing that you said was question authority. And you should, everybody, even if you think Todd is the best Bigfooter in history, and obviously he's got 7 videos, so he's the king right now because nobody else has that, but question it. Why hasn't he had scientists looking at that? Dr. Meldrum is not the only person in Bigfooting that has a degree that could look at a video and see if they feel like that's a real animal. I mean, he could reach out to all kinds of different people to have his work verified. Why did he just pick some limited amount of people? He should be, if he truly has that, Jane Goodall would look at it and go, oh my God, here's the proof that we need. And she would go on a campaign all over the United States asking for that species to be protected. So I'm not really getting it. If you really have really good crystal clear videos, why are you going about it this way? This is the absolute wrong way of doing it. You know, and so his followers are just buying that hook, line, and sinker, then, you know, that's because they'll believe anything.
In episode 1 of Survivorman Bigfoot, they place apples on a tree structure, and allegedly, overnight, the apples disappeared. And there were supposedly footprints in the grass the next morning. Tammy, what animal could have taken those apples?
Well, there's many times when deer will stand on their hind legs to get leaves on branches that are just out of reach. The deer that is in the picture, a white-tailed deer would be in the range of 200 to 300 pounds and still be able to stand up and reach as far as they put those apples, because they didn't really climb up into high branches or anything to place those apples. An elk, on the other hand, would, which can get up to 1,100 pounds, could reach considerably further. And as far as the tracks go, the ground was, like Kathy and I were talking earlier, kind of a spongy, mossy type grass, and really you wouldn't be able to get a definitive.
I think an important note is humans can remove, I mean, I think that was what was, I don't remember now if it was on the show or if it was something Dr. Meldrum mentioned, that they had also put apples on a stick structure and the next day all of them were gone. Well, yeah, because people can go and take those apples, unless you're guarding that all night, which obviously they weren't. What is there not to say that somebody else that was working with Todd did that? I mean, that's the problem. Is his reputation is such that anything that happens is suspect, because you don't know what else is going on. You don't know who else is in the area that's doing stuff on the benefit of Todd.
Okay, Kathy, where's their follow-up? Where's their plan B? Where is the trail cams strategically placed in positions that would capture whatever it is that's taking the apples from the stick structure?
Correct. Where's the science?
Mm-hmm.
Where is the science?
Where's the follow-up?
Yeah, where's the follow-up?
If there were cameras, I venture to guess that the apples would have remained.
Yes. I'm pretty sure.
I think so too. I also think, you know, anything, the apples could very well have disappeared from the tree overnight, but you've got, it's confirmed bear area. I mean, bears will eat apples, I'm sure. Like you said, deer and elk, raccoon, probably even a porcupine could get up there. And for the footprints, or the alleged footprints that they've seen, they were all over that stick structure the day before that. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were walking through there. And the fact that they didn't put up any cameras overnight
makes you wonder.
Right,
it makes you wonder if they're brand new to Bigfooting.
Yeah. Of course, we'll get the old, well, the Bigfoot doesn't like the camera story from Todd Standing, I'm sure. But whatever.
I saw somebody brand new to Bigfooting just a few months ago who got on a TV show, who used sterile equipment, rubber gloves, the proper collection protocol, and his name is Rictor Riolo.
Yay! And I'll put up a picture of me being caught by my own trail cam.
Never heard of it.
In Survivorman Bigfoot, Les Stroud has the audacity to say, Todd's video footage, it's either real or fake.
Duh. That is a true statement, Rictor.
That is a true statement. It's either real or it's fake. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of a third option for that. No.
Thank you so much, Les Stroud, for the profound statement.
Oh, Captain Obvious, isn't that what?
Yeah. Remember, Les Stroud doesn't do reality TV. He does documentaries.
Well, I was going to say the second episode, what was impressive was where they went to spend the night. The last night, that was one heck of a long walk. I mean, that was pretty a remote area. I don't believe anything happened there, but that definitely was an impressive overlook area for sure.
Well, that's why I like the second episode better, because they actually went into a remote area. The first episode was all along. You could see them driving their little, ATV thing. They were right on a well-traveled path. But the second episode, they went deep in the woods, and it kind of, now I know Todd's a alleged hoaxer, but it kind of confirmed, because you could tell from where they were, that is where the the original videos or the still pictures that you see from his blinky eye guy. So I mean, it was the area. How he hauled that there, I don't know, but oh wait, this is a family show. I can't say that word, can I?
Let's call that Bigfoot Blinky, okay?
Blinky. Blinky the Bigfoot.
I think Blinky is computer generated, obviously, and these different images that Todd Standing has provided, look at the facial dimorphism of each creature. They're different. It's different kinds of Sasquatch living in the same area. Now, Kathy, you being an anthropologist, wouldn't these creatures have similar facial features if they all lived in the same group area?
The chances are most of the Bigfoots living in an area are somehow related to each other one way or the other, just because they're such a small population group. So they should look like a family unit. I mean, that's what families are. I mean, you take, genetically, we could do that old, AB whatever test and what's a dominant trait. But yes, they should look similar to each other, and those two don't look anything alike to each other at all. Last week I talked about, or 2 weeks ago now, about the body type can be different. Just like in any family, you can have, my grandfather and grandmother, my two grandfathers and my grandmother were very tall people, but I have a grandmother that was 5'9", and that's who I take after. And so it can happen like that, or you can be tall, thin, lanky, whatever. But yeah, facially they should look very similar.
And they don't.
The hair texture and everything look like two completely different types of hair. And if they are indeed, animals, then the hair type should be very similar on both of them. But one looks like camel fur, and the other one, I don't know, looks very well groomed.
Well, the argument you're going to get is that, just like people, Bigfoot would be very diverse, but in a small area like Alberta, locally, they should look the same. Now, if Todd took one of those in Florida, let's say, and then another one in Alberta, then you might expect some changes. But in a local area, just one area like that, and obviously the same location, judging by the pictures, they should look facially similar.
How am I going to word this? Shame on us for making sense.
I've not been accused of that before.
Well, it would be interesting then to see the other videos. If he has 7 videos total, do all of those look the same, or are there that same kind of differences with each one? I mean, I'd be interested in knowing that information. What do they look like?
Well, I've tried to find the videos, through the back door on the internet here, and I wasn't able to find anything. Nobody has uploaded them anywhere.
Is that legal, Steve?
No comment.
After Hours with Rictor does not condone illegal activity on the internet.
No, but what I'm saying is so nobody's gone so far as to upload them to a torrent site, for example, or to YouTube or anything. So none of us can review this material to make a proper judgment. So in that case, we have to go with what we've seen, and what we've seen is
suspect. What we've seen is suspect.
Yeah, they're suspect. The one was a very nice-looking picture. The other one was obviously a Muppet-looking thing, But the other one, until you see the animatronic Blinky, then it's most likely a fake. But none of us can review this stuff without paying for it, so we have to make judgments on what we can see.
Correct. The burden is on the person who's making the claim, as Tammy has said. And if he really is concerned, which I have no idea if he's concerned or not about us haters, that hate him so much, if he really wants the Bigfoot community to just support him and what his efforts are, then release the evidence. Don't try to make money off of it, because that's just unethical in itself, but release it and let the community judge it, and then maybe he would get some people to support him. But he's going about it the typical hoaxer way. I have something, pay me to see it, and then when you see it, you go, wow, that's really bad. What? Oh, well, I have more, but I'll release that later in a different format, and you have to pay me to see that. Oh, okay, you didn't like that. Okay, well, now I have some other evidence that you can pay me to see, and I swear this time it's the good stuff. And wow, what does that sound like?
The Rick Dyer recipe for Bigfooting disaster.
It's also Tom Biscardi's method. He's the one who invented it. He actually deserves more credit than he's been getting in all this. He's the one that had the method down. So typical, and he can fuss about it all he wants to, but until he changes his own behavior and how he treats the Bigfoot community, you deserve what you get.
And I would go so far as to say for all of us here that we probably would be willing to pay $10.95 to see something that had real evidence, real solid evidence, DNA evidence, measurements, before and after pictures, a whole gambit of scientific method to prove what we're looking at on this video. But I'm not going to just, take somebody's word for it when it, looks bogus.
Yeah. I mean, it's Melba Ketchum. Remember, she wanted people to pay to see her paper, and it's just like, wow. And and the other way you can look at it too is not as he trying to make money off of it, but Melba's intent was to restrict people's access. That was how I viewed that. Is she didn't want people, true scientists, tearing her work apart because she wanted the Bigfoot believers to follow it hook, line, and sinker. There's still people who go, well, Melba proved Bigfoot was real by, that paper. And you're like, no, she didn't. And I don't know why some people still haven't gotten that message yet.
Well, here's the thing, and Rictor and I talked about this earlier this week. Todd Standing, Rick Dyer, Melba Ketchum, none of them care about the Bigfoot community at all. They're more after the general public and trying to fool the general public. And so that's what you get, because the general public doesn't care whether Melba Ketchum really did the science or not. They're just taking the word for it. I mean, you see it all the time on YouTube. Somebody will upload a video, Timber Giant Bigfoot or the Squatch Master or Todd Standing, and oh yeah, he put it on YouTube, so it must be real. It's the same thing. The general public is the goal.
That's the people who paid the $10 to $20 to see Hank.
Right. And Rick Dyer himself, in a private chat with me, and I can show it, because now that the hoax is dead, I can show all that stuff that I talked with him about. He told me that himself. This is not for the Bigfoot community. This is for the general public. That's what I'm after.
Oh my gosh. So once again, we're making sense. People drinking the Kool-Aid. Listen to what Steve Alcorn's saying. Continue, Steve.
Well, here's another thing. Why do you think Les Stroud is involved with this? For Todd Standing, it's because Les Stroud appeals to a wider audience.
He's good for business.
Jeff Meldrum's involved in it because Jeff Meldrum appeals to who? The Bigfoot community. So now he's got both crowds. And I don't know if you guys have seen Henry May's video.
We gotta go after Jeff Meldrum. Why, how dare he make up his own mind about somebody and actually investigate somebody, which is what we are supposed to do.
Why are you guys all bashing on Jeff Meldrum? Well, I don't think anybody's really bashing on Jeff Meldrum. We're just questioning why he's, with Todd Standing. But this is the thing. He's winning people over in both communities now, the general population and the Bigfoot community, just because of Jeff Meldrum's involvement.
I think Tammy hit it on the head.
I have my theory about that. Yeah. My other quote is, "It's good for business." That's a lot of what Bigfooting is about. That when Bigfooting and the Bigfoot phenomenon and the Bigfoot merchandising and all things Bigfoot cycle. They go through periods of time where they're very popular with the general public, and then it kind of tapers off. You know, the shows have run their course. Even Finding Bigfoot's going to be coming to an end. And so if things start to slow down a little bit, that means the people that are making money off of Bigfoot, business is slowing down for them. So they have to come up with something to drum up business. This is good for business for Jeff Meldrum to hook up with Todd Standing, for Todd Standing to hook up with Les Stroud, for the three of them to do a radio show together, which I guess that's what their next one's going to be. Yeah, this is all good for business, and it gets everybody. Look at all of the excitement that's stirred up over Survivorman Bigfoot. Now Todd Standing's getting a lot more views on his YouTube, and he's got a radio show. He's been on television. He's selling T-shirts, mouse pads, selling views of his videos. So it's good for business. That's why it's happening.
Wow. This is, you can't get more honest and truthful than this webcast here. We're somehow the bad guys for holding someone accountable for their extraordinary claims.
They're just sharing the chit-chat that's all over the place with everybody that, you know, can open their eyes to what's going on and has a lick of sense. It's really, that's what it's about. It's a business. There's still a handful of serious people out there that are really working to prove the existence of an unknown primate.
In Survivorman Bigfoot, Part 2, we see and hear the footage that Todd Standing gave Les Stroud of when Todd Standing was attacked by Bigfoot. And the video footage, it's red. I don't know if he's got a flare. It's shaky. It's blurry. You can't see what's going on. And you hear, yeah, get out of here. And you hear, and it goes on and on and on. And it's kind of scary because you don't know what's going on. Maybe.
Funny.
Very contrived, in my opinion. You know, fake. But
well, who videotapes themselves being attacked by Bigfoot? I mean, it's just like.
Well, here's the explanation. The explanation was what made me laugh. I was frozen. I couldn't do anything but yell. But yet he had enough time to turn that video camera on, right, and tape this flare moving. And it was a flare, Rictor. Yeah, come on. And it just sounded like, you know, acting to me. But I could be wrong, I suppose.
Bravo, Todd. Bravo.
Well, it wasn't an Academy Award-winning performance, in my opinion, but
it was good for business.
I mean, how is that evidence? How is that evidence of anything? You hear a little bit of grunting and growling and a guy waving a flare around, but you see nothing. It's not evidence. Why? I mean, you might present that along with something else as evidence, but when you're presenting that as itself, you know, and that's how Les Stroud presented it on the show, it's not evidence. I can go out in the woods tonight and do the same thing, right? I can walk across the street or in my backyard.
Go for it. That'd be fun.
And charge people $4 to see it, Steve. You'll pay your rent.
I'll tell you what. I'll charge $1.99 so that I, you know.
American?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. That's the other thing.
I can't remember.
Once again, we see stick structures. It's confusing. How can these guys know what the same looking tree breaks have different meanings? I mean, for all we know, that can mean, you know, 35 miles per hour in Bigfoot talk in the woods. Todd's unequivocal arrogance in knowing what these tree breaks mean is astounding.
No, it truly is. It truly is. First of all, again, Bigfoot is an animal. You can't possibly understand why an animal does something. You know, this fly is attacking me.
I was watching that.
Get your flare out and videotape it.
Yeah. For $2.99, you can see the fly that attacked
The horrible, huge mutant.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, Bigfoot is an animal. There's no possible way for us to understand, unless we're observing it being made at the time by the animal, what stick structures could even possibly mean. I mean, come on. There's just no way for us to get into the mind of that animal. It's impossible.
That brings up another point. Has anyone ever seen a Bigfoot throw a rock?
Yes. Actually, there is. Within the NAWAC, we had a member watch a Bigfoot throw a rock at him, saw his arm come down from behind a tree.
Ah, so
yeah.
and the rock came in, like, was it close to him? Was it being thrown at him?
Thrown at him at close range, yes.
Okay, well, there's an example of something that you could possibly link to Bigfoot because someone has actually seen it. At one time, right?
I believe just one time where somebody actually saw the rock. Yes, I think it's just at one time. I mean, I know of lots of occasions where, I've had rocks thrown at me many times, and, literally where it's pitch black at night, and if I heard it coming through the trees, and if I hadn't dodged out of the way, it would have hit me, but instead it hit the building right behind me, and I walked over and I picked up that rock, and so I know it was a rock, and there's no way it fell off the side of the hill because you could hear that it was thrown through the trees. So
something threw it at you.
Something did, yes, but you can't prove what it was because I didn't see who did it. Because if I saw who did it, they would have a big black eye right now because it really made me mad.
Yeah.
I also had a rock thrown at me once, but I couldn't see what was throwing it. Now, there was other evidence to support that it could be a Bigfoot. I found a 17-inch print that day, and I found alleged stick structures that day, and it was all in the same occurrence. So could it have been a Bigfoot? Absolutely. Could it have been some guy hiding in the woods messing with me? It also could have been that, But unless we see it, there's no way to prove it. And I don't think anybody's ever seen, that I know of, a Bigfoot making a stick structure. Not that it's possible, but I have never heard a report of somebody actually seeing it happen.
Yeah, I haven't either. I've had a lot of people say that when they're telling me their story of their Bigfoot sighting, that it ends up not actually being a sighting, but they were, sitting out in the dark and they heard something coming through the woods, and it was really big. Oh, you saw it? Well, no, but it sounded really big. It had to be about 500 or 600 pounds, 9 foot tall. But did you see it? No, but it sounded really big. I've heard so many witness accounts just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. And those are the ones that oops, my dogs are barking. Hang on.
Pause.
She's being attacked. She's being attacked by flies, dogs.
Edit.
No, it means my husband's home. So hold on, it'll just be just a wee little bit of a disturbance.
Come on, Kathy. This is a professional.
Yeah, we're as professional as it gets.
My point with that is that whole thing with him and the flare and Les Stroud hearing something in the trees or the grass or whatever. Did he actually see something? No, he didn't.
And Rictor, you stole my line. I was going to say it was Todd Standing over there taking a piss at the end of the first episode. What's that? Oh, just Todd.
Bigfoot North is a program that discusses the entire gambit on the reality of a species that is yet undiscovered by modern science. Each week, a new topic will be discussed or a celebrity guest will be interviewed. Our production will shed light on the scientific evidence supported by conclusive facts that have led to the species' habituation of this continent. You will understand that this is not only a possibility, but a simple one by demonstrating the how, where, and why they have successfully evaded civilized man. Bigfoot North is broadcast live every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Variety Channel. Bigfoot North. Todd Standing is now on the internet airwaves. So he's got the TV show, he's got the mouse pads, he's got the YouTube, he's got everything covered. And his first guest was Dr. Meldrum, which was awesome. We've had Dr. Meldrum on our show. But here's the thing I didn't like. Supposedly, Dr. Meldrum has had a Bigfoot experience, and Mr. Standing would not let Dr. Meldrum talk about it on his show.
Yeah. What's that all about?
This is the experience that Standing provided for Dr. Meldrum when he went to visit?
I believe so.
Well,
Okay.
obviously we can't say that for certain, but...
Correct.
I mean, Dr. Meldrum obviously had some sort of experience when he was with Todd, but why... I just don't get the fact. I know they're making a documentary. I know all that, and it'll come out then, but this is Dr. Meldrum.
It's called baiting. They're baiting.
Right.
They're baiting new people.
Yeah.
Well, he signed an NDA as well, and so, and he asked him if they could talk, and Standing's reply was, well, no, let's leave it for the documentary, and so he kind of, Meldrum has to do what the person he signed the NDA with asks him to do, and so Dr. Meldrum isn't his first guest, he's a co-host on that show,
Right.
so Meldrum will be on all the shows. So it's a joint venture between the two of them.
Right.
So, and what I caught on when I was, you can also watch it on YouTube, the interview, this first show, and I saw that Todd Standing said a couple of things and stopped himself from saying it. That was really super suspicious. He was like, he kept saying it was brilliant, you know, what this whole thing is brilliant, and then when Meldrum was starting to talk about, well, can we share the experience, he said no, and then he made this thing, all the work that went into and then he stops himself, like he was suggesting all the work to make you have your experience, and you know, and he says something about, I didn't have the camera on you, I just put you out there in front and let you have it, you know, kind of thing. And it's just like, well, but you wouldn't have known anything was going to happen. So what a strange way of putting that. You know, it was almost like he was bragging, you know, that he caused it. But that's just me as an anthropologist and looking at, you know, nitty picky about how people say things. But it's kind of interesting. It's towards the end there. It's worth watching and seeing how he just cuts himself off mid sentence to change gears because he was going someplace that he realized he didn't want to go.
I found that Bigfoot North was a very well-polished Todd Standing infomercial.
Absolutely. That's mainly what it was. And Todd, like Kathy, he's full of himself, that's for sure, after listening to that show. I mean, I had never really heard much from Todd Standing before that, except what we see on YouTube and, you know, his sylvanic.com. But listening to him on that show, it wasn't so much on the Survivorman thing, but on that radio show with Meldrum, my God, the guy's full of himself. You know, I'm the best. I do this. I do that. And the one thing that I know out of all the stuff that Todd said that night, the one word that really got me was the fact that he calls people who don't agree with him haters. And every hoaxer that I know says the same thing. Anybody who presents real evidence doesn't go out and say, okay, you're a hater. I've never heard of anybody who I believe that's presented real evidence say that. That's the first clue right there. You know?
Nailed it, Steve. That is textbook hoaxing.
I would never use that word if I was hoaxing something. Never. Because that's the first freaking clue. You know?
Well, it would be bad for business.
Right. But Rick Dyer uses the word hater all the time. And then he gets people to believe, oh yeah, these people just hate me. And that's what the hoaxers generally do. They want people to feel sorry for them, and that's what Todd wants. He wants people to feel sorry for him.
The same thing before from David Paulides. Whenever I saw him down in Oklahoma City, this was before the Ketchum paper was released. The same kind of things were being said, with their twist on it, of course, leading up to the release of Ketchum's paper.
Well, even Melba Ketchum is
socks off, and you know, just that you won't believe what you're seeing. You know, we're really gonna amaze people with what we have, and blah 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 blah.
Even Melba Ketchum has used the hater term before. I just don't get it.
Yeah, that's what her still supporters will call you, as a hater, because you know you don't believe with all your heart that what she produced was the truth, and it's kind of it is. That's a very good observation to make, because I know, obviously, I deal with Native American stories, and I get lots of people go, well, you know, Native Americans don't know anything. That stuff is, you know, handed down, but, you know, it has all these errors. And I go, well, great, that's your opinion, and I'll gladly try to explain why anthropology thinks it's valuable. But if you think it's not worthy of your time, that's great. You know, I'm not going to sit and call you a Native American hater. You just be hating. You know, it's just so unprofessional to use those terms. But yeah, it's the people who use those terms are all the same ilk. How interesting.
So
Yes.
we're haters because we ask the questions that no one else is asking. We're haters because we say the burden of proof lies on the person making the claims. We're haters because we're applying common sense. We're haters because we are not buying your shit.
How,
You know
how
what I
dare
hate?
you question me?
I am a hater. I hate bullshit.
Now, guys, on the Sylvanic website, which will take you to the Todd Standing store where you too can buy your mouse pad, there's a link that you can click on to watch his videos. And now here's the exact quote about his videos. While we don't support or deny any particular claims made in these films, these caught our attention and are interesting to watch.
Your voice kills me.
Well, then you're mad at us because we're questioning you about these videos, and we're haters when you on your own website say, while we don't support or deny any particular claims made in these films, these caught our attention.
Well, when he says these caught our attention, they're all his videos. Every one of them.
Thank you.
Don't forget to insert the frog sound back there at the F-bomb, Rick.
No, girl, I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. Use bad... Okay, I'm all about using bad words at the right time and place. That was the right time and place.
That is a very strange language to have on your own website, on videos. I'm reading it right down. That's exactly what it says. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because they're all his videos. These caught our attention. That would mean that maybe there's somebody else's video. No, they're all his.
That's
Yeah,
called
or
tooting your own horn.
Well, or he's making a claim that that website isn't his. I mean, because who's we? You know, we don't. And you know, and that's the same thing that I saw Dyer had made a video, or somebody videotaped him with a phone at one of his events where he was showing the Bigfoot. And hold on, my children are screaming. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
She's been attacked by a fly. She's been attacked by dogs. Now she's being attacked by wild feral children.
Yeah.
Well, how can you prove they're feral? Do we have the DNA? Oh, that was a Bigfoot bounty reference.
So, Tammy, what do you think about me keeping the in there? It's just
Keep it.
Yeah, I am. I generally bleep out my bad words, but I will keep that.
Okay, sorry.
You
Yeah,
must.
I'm having a day. Well, I find that very disturbing to have that type of language on somebody's own website. He says that's his website and those are his videos. So why would you put a disclaimer like that? Because you're trying to, because technically if you sell a video claiming something is real and it's not real, you can be sued for that because it's a fraudulent claim. And I saw a phone video that was taken of Dyer at one of his shows in Texas, and he says the exact same thing. He says, I can't tell you that whatever's in the box in there is a Bigfoot. And they're like, well, we just paid you $10 to see what you're saying is a Bigfoot. Well, I can't make that claim that what's in that is a real Bigfoot. And the lady on the phone is going, what the hell? You know, what? You know, because he's trying to not get sued or being charged with fraud. Because if you say, yeah, that's a Bigfoot, you pay me money, you go in there and go, that's not a Bigfoot, you're now a criminal. And so that tells me right there with that disclaimer that Todd is possibly acknowledging that these are frauds and he doesn't want to get in trouble with the law by selling those.
Now I will do a screen capture and I will show it here. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, that's called CYA clause.
Cover your ass, girl. It's CYAG.
Mm.
Cover your ass, girl.
Damn, we're good.
God, we're like the Bigfoot detectives. We should change this.
By the way, I own BigfootDetectives.com. So go on.
Do you really?
Yes, because Matt Moneymaker said one day to me in Twitter, of course, because that's the only way he communicates, that he wished that finding Bigfoot was called BigfootDetectives.com. So I immediately registered it just in case.
All right, After Hours with Rictor panel, I'm going to ask this question. Survivorman, Bigfoot. Part 1 or Part 2? Which one was better? Tammy.
Part 1.
Kathy.
Part 1.
Steve.
Part 2.
Why?
I just, because they went deep into the woods that time, the first time they were just on the trail and all. So I just like Part 2 better. And, because it was more closely resembling maybe, possibly, kind of real Bigfoot research than Part 1 was. Well, no, technically, I guess Part 1 was closer because most people don't get very far off the road, but you know what I mean.
Okay, I'm going to say Part 1 because it ended on a cliffhanger, baited me to watch Part 2, and I left Part 2 like I felt like I went out and went to a party and didn't get laid. I mean, it ends with Les Stroud talking about he heard rock chitter. Now credits.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was good TV. First episode was good TV. Great ending. Made you want to tune in for more. I definitely tuned in for more and was left with blue balls.
That's what it's all about, was the cliffhanger, I think, with the first one.
Which was not resolved.
Well, there was kind of a cliffhanger at the end because he said he heard the rock clacking. Of course, we didn't hear the rock clacking on camera because apparently Les didn't have it on at that time. But so there was a cliffhanger at the end of that one too. I think there's going to be more. I don't know if they'll be with Todd Standing. I hear rumors of, so perhaps somebody in Maine. Somebody in Maine has been telling me for a while. No, don't say it.
Oh, no. Is he got a green face?
No, the other person in Maine. Yes. That's the rumor, and yeah. So anyway, I think there's going to be more Survivorman Bigfoot type things. So that's why, the rock clacking, the kind of the cliffhanger at the end of the second episode too, I think.
I don't think we will be seeing these episodes on the Science Channel. I think they will continue to be on channels like Travel and Escape, Destination America, the entertainment-based, rather than the science-based channels.
I think Discovery's supposed to carry it in the U.S. Has it been shown even yet over here?
April. No, this month sometime, at the end of the month, I think.
Okay.
No, it's supposed to be, the first one is next week. On the Wednesday of next week is supposed to air, the first half. So
we're almost toward the end now, and I want to talk about the prices. You can watch Todd Standing's mini documentary for $10.95 in Canadian. But then you have everybody saying that Justin Smith is a hoaxer and that he really didn't kill a Bigfoot, etc., etc. And Rosa Hebe's only out to make money. Rosa Hebe's documentary on Justin Smith killing 2 Bigfoot, the movie's called Dead Bigfoot, was how much, Steve?
I believe it was $3.99. Or it
$3.99 compared to this mini documentary that Standing's providing for $10.95. But then you can see a real Bigfoot body supposedly for how much?
$20.
Kathy, out of those 3, which one would you spend your money on?
None. I have too much personal issues with that stuff I'm never going to purchase what somebody claims is evidence. If they don't want to share it with me because I'm a scientist, then I'm not interested. I'm just not interested. I don't have enough time in the day. And it's the same thing, I get a lot of unsolicited, those, audios, that type of thing given to me every day. And even though a lot of it's common animals, these are people who aren't scientists, but they know the right way to go. They know I need to get this to somebody who's a scientist and have it evaluated. And Kathy, if you're not the person, can you help me find somebody? They don't go, well, Kathy, I got this great evidence. I'm going to charge you $2 to get your opinion on it, and then blah blah. That's not the right way of going about it. And so even if people who are really uneducated, don't have degrees in this thing, don't have access to scientists, are doing it a better way than Todd and Rick and everybody else is doing it.
Concerning Rose's documentary with Justin, that wasn't really about evidence. It was more about, documenting Justin's journey through this thing. So, I mean, they didn't really present evidence in there. But out of the three, I would pay, and already have, to watch the Dead Bigfoot. I've seen that. I would have paid Rick Dyer $1.99 to see his Dead Bigfoot.
I'd pay Rick Dyer $100 just to go away.
He probably would take the $100 too. That's the funny part.
Mm-hmm. With a smile and a gleam in his eye. Coming away from the Survivorman Bigfoot that aired up in Canada, will you be watching this again?
Yes.
You'll be watching it again if it comes out?
I want to see the American version. I want to see if there's any changes or edits or additions.
I would probably watch it again just to pay more attention to mannerisms and why or how things are said. Pay a little more attention. And it was because you're watching on YouTube. That's how I saw it. It's kind of choppy, and so seeing a nice, smooth presentation might be worth my time.
Yeah, I just want to see the high-def version because the scenery was beautiful in the second episode more so than the first because, like Steve said, they went up into the woods and up on higher ground and everything. But definitely will be worth watching. I did check on TV, and it is going to be on Discovery here, so, and not the Travel Channel.
When's it going to be on? What day?
Next week.
Well, he's also going to be the guest on Bigfoot North next week as well on Wednesday.
Les Stroud.
Yep, which I'll probably listen to because the first episode was really the Todd Standing infomercial, but I really enjoy Les Stroud, and I think we need people like Les Stroud, to be honest, because he can spend weeks on end in the wilderness because he can survive. We need Les Stroud without Todd Standing, but we need somebody like him, Somebody who can be dedicated
what I would love to see? Meldrum and Standing are part of this radio show. I would love to see Les drop Todd and go with Meldrum. Now that would be worth watching. That would be a good pair.
Yes, I totally agree.
Hey, I'll tell you what. They can keep Todd Standing as long as he stays behind the microphone, and Les and Jeff go out in the wilderness. That would be great.
we can start a campaign. Dump Todd Standing now. Dump Todd Standing now.
Okay, now we're being haters.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, we kind of are.
Steve Alcorn is our Team Tazer Investigative Reporter, and he has found some information, and he's going to give it to us right now. Does it make us haters that we're looking for more information by taking something to the next level? In-depth research? I guess we're haters. So listen to what Steve has found, and you decide for yourself.
I don't think it makes us haters at all, Rictor. I think it just makes us seekers of the truth. I prefer that term, but we came across Steve Call's blog, and according to Steve Call's, he found that Todd Standing had once had a production company, and that production company was called Outstanding Productions. Now he also owns that Sylvanic.com website. Originally, both of those websites were registered to a Todd Rockwell and also a Louise Green. We now know that Todd Rockwell was just a alias for Todd Standing, and Louise Green was an alias for Louise Standing. That would be Todd's sister. I think the most interesting part, Rictor, would be that at one point Todd, and I'm just going to read the way it was written from an old copy of the domain registration, but Todd had wanted actors. And it said, actors are invited to audition for a feature film to be shot in and around Edmonton in August, seeking 9 male and 5 female actors 25 to 35 years old. For more on those roles, and then he gives the email and an old phone number. I don't know if that phone number is still registered or not.
And this was done under Todd Rockwell?
This was done under Todd Rockwell originally. Mr. Coles found out that Todd Rockwell was actually Todd Standing, and it was pretty easy to figure out because it was called, well, Outstanding Productions.
Did Todd Rockwell come out with anything production-wise that year?
Well, right after, I believe, Sylvanic.com was registered, Mr. Rockwell, a.k.a. Standing, had done the first Sylvanic video, which a lot of people haven't seen or don't know about, but it is on the Sasquatch Detective website, the old blog. Here's the thing. When it was first registered, and I've heard Todd say it on a few occasions, that he was a skeptic, and he went into this with a skeptical approach, but automatically, as soon as the website's registered, the first thing that pops up on there is an alleged Bigfoot video. There's a woman talking, and she sees some trees shaking, and I think she hears something. You don't see anything. There's no Bigfoot to be seen, but it is, you know, a video. And of course, a lot of people thought the acting in that was pretty bad. I thought so. I mean, Rictor, you've seen it. What do you think about the acting in that? Yeah, I mean, exactly, right? So now I'm assuming it was acting. We don't know that for sure. I don't know. You know, he started, obviously, was asking for actors for a feature film, and we've never seen a feature film from Outstanding Productions. So I don't know whatever happened to that. But I think maybe, perhaps, that the first video was probably part of that feature film that he was trying to make. And I would guess the second video, the one that I believe they showed on Finding Bigfoot with the Bigfoot behind the rock, was probably also part of that. So, and then, of course, then he comes out with Blinky and the Muppet.
Motion picture and video production. Year established 2004. There's 2 employees.
Todd Standing and Louise Standing are the 2 employees of, or would have been the 2. Now, I doubt that Standing Productions exists anymore. I don't think he goes by that anymore. I think everything he does is under the Sylvanic label and now the Bigfoot North label. Rictor, I think a good idea would be to discuss this further with Steve Coles. What do you think about maybe getting him on as a guest?
Ooh, the Squatch detective himself. Ooh. Steve Coles on After Hours with Rictor. Think he'll do it?
I bet he would. I bet he would.
All right, Steve. This is your invitation. Let's see what you have to offer in your investigation.
Tune in Wednesday, April 9th. Hold on. I just pulled.
See?
Oh!
Tune in Wednesday night, April 9th, to watch Survivorman Bigfoot, 9 p.m. Central on Discovery.
In closing, I'm going to have to say that I come away from watching Survivorman Bigfoot. It was, for the most part, good television. I found the first part to be enthralling, the second part to be boring. I'm not buying Todd Standing's claims, footage, the blinking eye at all. You know what? I'm still part of the Patterson-Gimlin camp. That is something remarkable, not a frozen computer-generated blinking special needs puppet. Your closing thoughts, Tammy.
I'm going to be tuning in to watch it again. I think it was good television, which Les Stroud is excellent at doing that and providing us with his handsome face. Because I think we will admit we do have a bit of a crush, right, Rick?
Ooh, yes.
But overall, it was a little bit of a disappointment, but still entertaining and good for business.
And Steven.
Unlike Tammy and Rictor, I do not have a crush on Les Stroud. However, I will tune in to watch the U.S. version of it, because I'd like to see if there's any changes or additions or things like that. And to me, it was just your typical Bigfoot television. Nothing extraordinary, but I still like to watch it because it's Bigfoot related.
And Kathy, what are your thoughts, your closing thoughts on the bromance of Les Stroud and Todd Standing?
Well, I don't have a crush on Les Stroud either, but maybe I'll get one. But I admire him and I respect his work, and I'm sure that I'll watch it again, and I'm sure that I'll listen to the radio program because I just want to know what's going on. I'd like to be informed, and that's the only way I know how to do it. And so, yeah, I mean, and unfortunately, that's the pattern for, making good business. It makes people want to tune in again and again. So it is good business.
Well, I'm not going to be spending $10.95 to watch a mini documentary of videos that he cannot claim to be real or not.
Agreed.
The burden of proof.
I would like to add that I want to coin a new phrase that all Todd Standing's followers are now to be called Standlings.
Don't be such a standling. It's like stands. You've heard of the term stands, right? Stalker fans.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Eminem did a song called Stan about a guy writing letters to Eminem wanting to know why Eminem's not his friend and talking to him, and he spends all his money on him, and the name is Stan. It's a great song.
Not a huge Eminem fan. Sorry.
Anyways, I hope you get this, man. Hit me back, just a chat. Truly yours, your biggest fan. This is Stan.
I like it.
Well, thank you once again, Kathy Strain, for joining us, and Steve Alcorn, our Team Tazer Investigative Reporter.
Good night, John Boy.
Well, thanks for having us. I really enjoyed it.
And lovely Tammy Murray, co-host.
Thanks, Ricky. Be sure and check out sweetsassyglassy.com for your Bigfoot pendants made out of fused art glass. sweetsassyglassy.com.
Wow, just like Todd Standing, Tammy Murray's got product to sell, but at least you get more bang for your buck.
You're holding it backwards.
Look, it rotates, and if you look closely, it blinks.
Mine's blinking right now.
It's right here. I have the non-blinking one.
Oh.
And Steve?
I chose to wear my Bigfoot or my alien pendant because we all know that Bigfoot and aliens are, related.
They're interchangeable.
Right.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.